In the monastic vigils, that's the night office, classically it's divided into nocturnes, and on a Sunday, the third nocturne is that of the resurrection. In France, we had the Paschal lit at that point for the Gospel of the Resurrection, and there was an ambit of waiting for the dawn, the heart of night, darkness breaking into light as the world sleeps on. This night, the Gospel was that of the Sunday where, in St. Mark, the Lord is going to meet them at the place where they know they must go. There's an understanding already in the apostolic band. We know where he means. And so it was fitting that by chance this Sunday Gospel should have coincided with the very place where actually the Transfiguration took place. Those three knew what was going to happen. They had been there before. Déjà vu. And when they saw now the risen Lord, they knew exactly then the meaning of the vision, as it's called, that they had before the Passion, and why they had to keep quiet at that point. We notice there are things in common between the Transfiguration and the Resurrection. It is light, dazzling white light, and actually it's described in the Gospel of the Transfiguration, whiter than any fuller on earth could make it. What does that mean? Is this the uncreated light of which the Eastern Orthodox speak in the monastic life? All three persons of the Blessed Trinity are there. The Father, of whom we think actually on this first Sunday of August, the Father, origin of all, is there. And the Son is declared to be so, my beloved Son. But there is this cloud, and some have seen in it also the Holy Spirit overshadowing. But the Holy Spirit is contained also in that word, my beloved, for what is the Spirit? Essential love. Now, this feeling came over the apostles, and Peter blurted out the first thing that came to his mind. He wanted to stay with that experience. There are moments in our existence too when something warms us. There are places where we've met the Lord, where something has come, an interior light, a joy of encounter. We want it back. There are places in our life where we've prayed oftentimes before. There might even be a Bible full of graces of the past. Well, there are things that we need to treasure, and grace is one of them. This feast is linked also with one specific area of our life. It's that of worship. Notice that in the East, the whole body enters into it. First of all, the women already try to prostrate themselves to kiss his feet. Here, also at the resurrection, there's adoration going on, and we can be sure that at the Transfiguration there was something beyond words, and all they could do was gaze in amazement. We need that. Now, as it happens, on this day in 1972, I was climbing another Mount Tabor. It's those perpendicular mountains in the heart of Greece, meteors they're called, on the top of which are monasteries dating right back. And it was a Sunday, it was this Sunday in August, the 6th of August, and I went up. Now, a lot happened on that day, which I've never forgotten. It was one of those moments where one has an experience. That encounter with 3 hours of Eastern Orthodox liturgy, because there was no Catholic Mass for miles, got me to understand something that many books wouldn't. We can only suggest the beyond. Moreover, I understood many things that a book could not teach me. Pope Benedict also has spoken on this. He indicates that man is more than just the mind. It's not enough to have words. There are ways of understanding things which go beyond words, and he is referring here to the experience of God in cosmic beauty, which touches him with his own power. He is beauty, and anything on earth created to honor that beauty must resemble it and suggest it. The best of our worship, in East and in West, has always done that. In the West, we have far more actually than in the East with regard to the creation of beauty, because we harnessed the best of human talent over the centuries. Think of all those beautiful polyphonic settings, which until recently were still used, and are still actually used in Bavaria. They were meant to honor God with his means. And in the East, they never ever had the unsung. They always stuck with the ancient tradition of all maximum, because God deserves only the best. I remember a comment that a friend of mine, who's now recently ordained a priest with pre-most attentions, a Welsh speaker and a convert, he wrote this after being years ago in a beautiful celebration where the maximum of the West could be seen actually in London. It was a polyphonic celebration in the Brompton Oratory, which has one of the best choirs, boys now, in England, the whole school. Nothing was spared. He was in tears. Now he knew that that was putting him in contact with God, with the best what we had in the West. Now, he was making a point also that, my friends, is our right. We have a right to experience God. In Ireland, there has come into play, subtly, bit by bit, a new norm. Now, it wasn't like that in the mid-60s, because any Catholic could, over this planet, also in Ireland, find, if he wanted to, one celebration which was something of that. Normally, in a decent parish, there was always the difference between the high and the low. There was one celebration which was fully sung with all the trimmings. It was closer to the Eastern Orthodox than we think, because it was ancient and unchanged. What happened? A notion came in which was badly understood. Everything has to be precisely mentally understood. Therefore, we have to know exactly the meaning of every word, and we have to have it also in our language. There must be no mystery which we can't comprehend. So, what happened? In the interests of a badly understood noble simplicity, all the complex, bit by bit, was jettisoned in favour of what? In practice, only evermore the low, only the sad. We'll throw in, yes, some music, but what will it be? Rarely will it be the Mass itself. It will be hymns, which actually will be sung not generally by the people in Ireland, but by a scholar, which means quite often young people strumming a guitar. So it is a complete nonsense with regard to application of what anything was supposed to happen in the mind of the fathers. A new form of specialization, and the people just there gazing and waiting for it to finish. And then precisely came in the new norm, the Quickie. And I'm hearing from several sources now that the Quickie is the norm. I heard this from a friend of mine, actually in the north. She was in church one Sunday, and she overheard a conversation between husband and wife in the pew before her at Holy Communion, just coming up to the end. Look at this, said one to the other, and gave the exact time. We could get this in 30 minutes down the road. And I know now that quite a few parishes over this Emerald Isle will not tolerate a celebration on a Sunday which goes on for more than 30 minutes. What has happened? Tabor? The football is more important. Even the cup of coffee is more important. We can't crash into eternity and back for a snack. We need sometimes to look a bit over our shoulder, to travel a bit the world and see what our brethren are up to elsewhere, where the Quickie has not become the norm. You know what the problem is, don't you, in Ireland? We're not challenged. Massively, the Republic is still of a Catholic ethos. We're not challenged. We still get away with it. You wouldn't in England anymore. You used to. You wouldn't. We're too close to our brethren who have a higher standard. They won't have anything on a Sunday going on for less than an hour. God is not shortchanged. Why should we shortchange him in Ireland? But there is also more to this feast, and it's linked with it. What happens when we're in this atmosphere of otherness for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and in the East, 3? We enter into what the Greeks call hesychastic mode. Hesychasm is linked with hesychia, which is silence. Stillness pervades the soul. I remember talking to a French priest in Romania. He'd just been to a funeral of an abbot of an Eastern Orthodox monastery, Higumenos. And he said, just in 2 words, 4 heures, 4 hours long. But then he added, with regard to the effect of 4 hours, it makes you enter into another mode. The whole being is stilled. One has no contact with human beings directly, but on the same cloud of glory. One goes towards something greater together, each alone with his thoughts and exposed to suggestion, suggestion, suggestion. We have to have everything understood. Where is the mystery? Is God a channel? There's a place, my friends, for not understanding a thing, but just lying prostrate before. And remember, what happens there is that one is able to be worked upon. One becomes passive. I want to leave you with this because it's linked. What was the one thing that we were told to do on table? Listen. When one is alone in stillness, one is not in output mode. One is able to pick up the impulses, the thoughts even of God. It's the same when we come out. We're stilled, and normally we should approach God present in the human tabernacle before us, the person that he sends us, with that mode of reception. I leave that with you, my friends. The noisy soul is his own worst enemy and will never have an interior life. He's always in output mode. Go through life receiving, receiving, receiving. Disappear. Be happy to be known only unto one. Disappear in that gaze. It's good to be